Hello to everyone again. We are going to get started here in just a few minutes. As a friendly reminder, we are keeping everyone on mute for the duration of this presentation unless you are the speaker, and I will be giving you additional information here shortly. Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon, everybody. The time is 1:59, so we are going to be getting started here in just a second. We're letting a couple more people in to this webinar, and we will be getting started very shortly. Thanks again for being here. All right, everyone, the time is 2 o'clock, and we are going to go ahead and get started with our employer showcase for Bridgestone. My name is Regina Ward. I work here at the Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce. We are really thrilled to have you all join us this evening, and for those of you that are watching later on our YouTube page. Today, we have the pleasure to have Wes Haywood and Christy Waller, who are both members of the HR team for Bridgestone with us. A few housekeeping reminders. We are keeping everyone on mute for the duration of this presentation, except for the presenters. If you have a question, the chat box is open. Please feel free to use that. We have team members that will be monitoring that chat box, and I'll be giving those questions, excuse me, to our presenters at the end of this session. So they'll be able to answer some of those for you in real time. And then we'll also give you their contact information as well. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Wes and Christy.
All right, thank you. We appreciate that, Regina. And so well, we're going to start the presentation here from us at Bridgestone in La Vergne. Is my presentation that we have. So first and foremost, we have the intro of who we are. I'm the HR journalist of labor relations, so I do a lot of different labor things, from investigations to hiring pieces. This facility, this piece of Bridgestone, is a unionized facility. So a lot of different pieces go into play when you have a union involved in that scenario. So that's mainly part of my day. Kirsty, she does also an array of things from helping salary teammates that are outside of the union to hiring and different projects, things like that. So that's kind of who we are and what we do each day. I worked for Bridgestone for a year, and Kirsty has worked here about 4 months, so still very new at what we do. But in an environment like this, you learn very quickly. So we'll move on to Bridgestone, just about Bridgestone. A lot of people know Bridgestone as like, when I tell someone I work for Bridgestone, they say, oh, well, the tire company. And that is kind of what Bridgestone is known for. It's what we do. So, bread and butter of the company. But also Bridgestone does a lot of other things. Makes pretty much anything that you can think of that involves rubber. Bridgestone has some type of play in that, from shocks that go onto an 18-wheeler, to tires, to roofing, the rubberized roofing for commercial use, lots of different things like that. So a piece of Bridgestone. I have kind of the corporate message here that Bridgestone Group mission is based on the words of its founder, which is serving society with superior quality, even from the plant level to the CEO. When it's build tires, we don't just build tires, we build quality tires. So to fulfill this mission, Bridgestone Group has used the concept of foundation to demonstrate the sustaining commitment to employees, to provide its customer with the world-class production and service to serve the community where Bridgestone does business. Kind of the essence of Bridgestone is what we call it. And at Bridgestone, there's not a customer, it's the customer is the boss. So when we do things for the boss, that's the customer. So the Bridgestone essence is composed of, the buzzwords, integrating corporate culture, diversity, each day that, we embrace this and all the values of Bridgestone around the world, because of course, very global company of Bridgestone. So we'll go next into the position that you would be applying for at Bridgestone. Here in La Vergne is seems very generic, I think, but that's what we call it, is just production worker. But that will be anything from mixing and creating rubber here at the plant, all the way to curing tires so that they can go out onto the road, building tires. We have to, of course, form the rubber once it's created. Lots of different things go into a tire. Most folks believe that you make a tire by creating rubber, pouring it into a mold, and that mold becomes a tire. That's kind of it, but definitely a lot more involved as far as putting wire in that tire and shaping it, building it, and then even checking the quality afterwards. No tire believes Bridgestone without being x-rayed, so that it's all the way down to where you see through the tire itself. So definitely much more involved than just a production worker. The responsibilities that fall into that as far as the job description would be operating machinery, chemical processing. Of course, lots of chemicals go into making rubber, the assembly of making the tires, which is the heart and soul of the plant. From there, production specifications, making sure you're reading the specs of the tire, scheduling. Each area has a certain requirement each day as far as production. And as rubber itself to be reprocessed, and then our target goals that we create for daily, weekly, and monthly goals that are here for the plant. And then other pieces of the plant of moving, packing, sorting raw materials, finished goods. The back half of our plant is a warehouse, which houses about 330,000 tires. All those do not come from just this plant. We have tires in this plant from China, they have from South America, have them from Europe, all over the world. Tires are housed here. So kind of material handling, monitor quality, identifying and discard or manufacturing faults. So definitely checking quality in every step of the process is a huge piece of Bridgestone. Maintaining accurate daily production records as you go through your day. Things are logged on paper, things are logged on computers, there's scan guns that log different things. So lots of record holding that if any tire ever left this plant, we could definitely track the life of that tire, where it was from the moment it was started to who built it to how it made it out of the plant. So that's another piece as well. And then any other assigned duties, which that's a normal piece that usually goes into a job description. Anything that your supervisor may ask you to do extra is also on there as well. So next one, let's see, is this portion. The next couple slides is kind of what you would hear on your first day if you came into Bridgestone for an interview. So kind of get ahead of the game and give you a lot of information that folks get as they come into the door. So the new hire program, compensation and benefits. Only requirement to work at Bridgestone is you must be 18 years of age or older and make it through the plant hiring process, which would be an assessment. It's about an hour-long assessment that you would take initially, followed by an interview, and then you would enter into the offer, the background check, and then orientation. So that's kind of the process in a nutshell. Currently, starting pay, $18 an hour is starting wage on the floor. A few different ways that you could make more than that an hour. One of them is listed here as your night shift premium. So this is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week process here in the La Vergne plant. So if you work the 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift, you would get your night shift premium of 30 cents on the hour. Another way that you would do that is if you worked in the mixing department where they actually make the rubber, there is a bonus for working in that area, and it's 25 cents on the hour. It's actually called a carbon black bonus is what Bridgestone calls it, because what makes a tire black is carbon black, and it's a byproduct of burning coal. And so it's a really fine powder that blows around back there. So it's really dirty, and it's just a dirty environment to work in. So you get an extra 25 cents on the hour to work in that area. Lastly would be if you're a tire builder. So if you build tires for Bridgestone, you get an extra $1 per hour. So you would start out at 19 an hour. The reason that is because that is the most physically demanding job in the building. Tire treads are really heavy. Most tire building machines, you have to lift the tread up and put onto the machine. Lots of the parts do it themselves, come off of rolls and things like that. But you do for 12 hours of a shift have to lift tread. And so definitely the most physically demanding, meaning that you would get that extra $1 per hour. From there, you go to your benefits. So benefits at Bridgestone, the EAP, Employee Assistance Program, is something that Bridgestone does for anyone with 30 days of credited service, which of course, a lot of people know about EAPs. Some people do and don't. Some people know them as some, different services, but really to me, when I always think of it, it's just like a network of professional services that work with a company to help their employees kind of have a contracted deal at Bridgestone that if you needed an attorney for something, or if you needed a counselor of some type, all those things would kind of come into play for that EAP program that they have. After your 90th day of service, you would have your medical, vision, prescription, dental, basic life, accidental death, and dismemberment insurance. All those things would kick in between your 90th day and your 120th day. So that would be your opening window to enroll once you were hired. All of that is done online. Things like that are also, of course, went over and reiterated again in orientation. So you would hear about your insurance multiple times during the hiring process. So there's that piece. Excuse me. And then last line there is your 401k savings plan. After 1 year of credited service, it is most places, you put in a certain dollar amount and then the company matches that percentage. Well, at Bridgestone, you would be a union employee, which it's negotiated in the contract of the union to the company about how 401k services are delivered within the company for a union teammate. And so it breaks it down that you would get a certain dollar amount per your years of service. And so instead of it just being a dollar match, it's by how much time that you have worked at Bridgestone. Next slide is the work schedule. So like I said, 24/7 operation is 12-hour shifts that you would work. And then there's only 2 shifts, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you look at the schedule there, that sample at the bottom, it's a 2-2-3 rotating schedule. Some people have seen this. I've talked to before. Some have not ever seen this. So you would say you work that Monday, Tuesday, you would work Wednesday, Thursday, off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the next week would just be the reverse. You'd be off Monday, Tuesday, work Wednesday, Thursday, off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So even myself, when I got here to Bridgestone a year ago, I saw the schedule and thought, man, this is actually a pretty nice schedule. You get 1 long week, 1 short week, and you get a 3-day weekend every other weekend. So that's not too bad. And then the further I looked at it is that you end up working half the month and half the year as far as days go. So it definitely will work out. I think a lot of people here enjoy it because you can schedule things and work around family events and things like that without using a tremendous amount of vacation time. So definitely a different type of work schedule, but it works out well for a lot of folks. Also with that, if you calculate those days worked in each week, the beginning of the work week is a Saturday. And so 1 week you would work 48 hours. The second week you would work 36 hours. How Bridgestone makes that happen where you get paid weekly, and that's the way every production worker is paid weekly, is they take the Saturday that you work and they split that 12-hour shift in half. 6 goes to 1 week, 6 hours, and then 6 hours goes to the other week. So that means you get 42 hours a week, but those 2 hours are built in overtime every single week. So that's the way they operate there. My next piece is the new hire program description. So the new hire program description, at Bridgestone, there are levels of jobs and progressions of jobs. These are the progressions. From your hire date till your 90th day, you're a new hire 1, meaning you get the base rate of pay that you would get coming into Bridgestone, and you're eligible for 9 paid holidays at that time period. After your 90th day, of course, you can, and up to 3 years, so a large window there, you're a new hire 2, and depending on your job title, your pay would go up in increments depending on what that job is. As let's say hypothetically, you're a tire builder, you start out at $19 an hour. After 6 months, it would go to $19.50. After 12 months, it would go to $20.50. And then after 18 months, it would go to $21.50. And then after 3 years, it would jump to $27.40. It's like a normal amount. That's not exact numbers, but somewhat very close. But then it just all depends on what job you have at the plant itself. And then also during that time period, you're eligible to participate in the medical, vision, prescription, dental, reimbursement of accounts, basic life insurance. All that stuff goes into play, like I said earlier. Your 401k would be during that time window. This would also be where you're eligible now for vacation. So after 1 year of employment at Bridgestone, you're eligible for a week's vacation, which is 3 days, because that's the longest you would work in a stretch of a week is 3 days. So it's your week's worth. The next year, in your second year, you would get 2 weeks, so 6 days. After 5 years of service, you get 3 weeks. After 15 years, you get 4 weeks. After 20 years, you get 5 weeks. And after 25 years, you get 6 weeks, which tops out at that 6 weeks. So Lots of folks, a lot of tenure in this plant. So I have quite a few people that have that 6 weeks of vacation time. And then also at that point, you would have 11 paid holidays that would go into effect during that time period. And then from this section, the most important thing, I think, for any folks that enter Bridgestone as time goes on in your career, your seniority right, to bid on jobs is definitely important, which takes effect after 18 months of being employed at Bridgestone. So what that really means is that in a non-union environment, if you want to move jobs inside of a company, you would go apply for that job, have to interview for it, and then it's decided by the manager who they want to enter to fill that job. In the union environment here at Bridgestone in La Vergne, it is that there is a seniority right bid. So you would bid for a job. Say currently you are a forklift driver. A forklift driver is a level 2 position. You do that job for 18 months, and then you're tired of trucking or want to move to do something different, or you want to go to a higher level job to get paid more. Say a tire builder. Tire builders are a level 4 job. So a level 3, 4, or 5 are the positions that you can bid to. And so after your 18 months as a trucker that drives a fork truck, you would come up here, you would sign a slip of paper. That's like an official document saying that you work in this department, this is your job, and you want to transfer to level 4 tire builder. You would go into a booklet that's up here full of those forms. And then when a position opened in the plant as tire builder, then I would go to that book, and whoever has the most seniority in the plant is the person that is awarded that job. And so then that job is awarded to that person with the highest seniority. Both managers are aware of this, and then that person moves to that position. So that's the way job bidding goes. From there, new hire 3 is from 3 years to 5 years. Only big change there is you're now eligible for tuition reimbursement, which for Bridgestone is $5,250 annually. And then lastly, after 5 years of employment, you are a regular employee at Bridgestone, and you get your 3rd week of vacation at that time. So last slide I have here is just reaching out, of course, how you can get a hold of Regina, myself at Bridgestone, Kirsty as well is on here. And I have taken the hyperlink of the bebridgestone.com. Let's see if I can get that to pop up so I can share that on my screen.
Hey, Wes, we don't see that on your screen yet. Oh, there we go.
Okay, perfect. So you'll go to bebridgestone.com, like it says here. Initially, the screen will pop up, and these boxes on the top are your key pieces you'll need to work with. Just type in Nashville at the top, even though it is La Vergne. A lot of people type in La Vergne until they can't find the job. So type in Nashville. The easiest way to do it, once you get everything that pops up in Nashville, because the corporate office is here as well, go to the location section here and sort them by alphabetized. And so if you can start with Bellevue is usually the one that pops up. Right below it, you'll see La Vergne, and it will cluster them all together. Any position that is in La Vergne. Right now, production worker does not show on the left, and the reason that is because it's the first day of the month, and my requisitions for jobs will close at the end of the month. So I today have reinitiated that production worker. So by the end of the workday today, it should be reposted on there, so you guys can go out and apply online. So by the end of the day, that should be back on this list. But that is by far the easiest way to get to it. Once you do get here, you just select the position itself. It'll open it up, and you can have job description, responsibilities, qualifications, all of that piece, and just apply over here to the left. And what it will do is ask you to log in, and you'll create a account in Workday, and that's the system that we use all throughout Bridgestone is Workday. So it'll kind of get you a start into the Workday system for Bridgestone. So kind of two birds with one stone there. And I believe that is all I got.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Wes. That was really great and super thorough. We appreciate that.
Yes.
I will again just give you all a heads up. You can place any questions that you might have in the chat box at this time. We're going to go ahead and ask Wes and Christy a couple of questions that we've already got. First question is, you talk about the production job that is available. Is there a specific type of experience you all are looking for when looking to hire for that role?
So ideally, when we look for a role like that, it's someone that has some amount of experience kind of in that environment, even possibly a warehouse environment. A lot of people that come from warehouses that will come to Bridgestone just because I've heard from candidates as they arrive, and I've taken them on tours and things like that, is that it's just a different experience, I guess, as far as the environment is. Of course, building tires is not a clean job. It's definitely a dirty environment to be in. Some jobs worse than others, but that's kind of what I get is when people are like, well, I hear some people say this is much dirtier than I thought it would be. Other people say, man, I never knew a tire plant could be so clean. So it kind of goes both ways, but just working in more of a manufacturing warehouse type of environment is what most folks that come to Bridgestone and are really successful, that's the background that they would have.
Absolutely. I have to tell you, I have been on a couple tours of your plant in La Vergne, and I, for one, definitely felt like it was an incredibly clean environment for what I thought building tires would look like. And so you all have a really unique and cool space there. Second question is, as you are moving maybe up to different jobs, and you talked about bidding for jobs within Bridgestone, are there certain things that someone could do, like get a specific certification that would place them in a better position when bidding for those roles?
As far as production goes, not a whole lot, just because of the seniority piece being in a union environment. When it comes to a union such as the steelworkers, seniority is extremely important. That they never want to do anything out of seniority. So that's a huge part of the production piece. As far as, like you said, of a certification or something like that someone can get as far as experience, that feels more so on the maintenance side of things. So a lot of maintenance teammates will come into Bridgestone and get experience. A requirement for maintenance is you have to have 2 years of experience, and then the degree and a certification is for that position. So a little more on the maintenance side of hiring, more so than a production side of hiring.
Gotcha. And then the last question that we have so far is, should someone, if they apply online through your system, is it appropriate for them to then follow up with an email directly to you to make sure that they got everything in process appropriately?
Yes, I believe so. I've had it happen before, of course, of folks following up either with a phone call or an email saying, I applied for this position. Just wanted to make sure that everything went through correctly, that it is there, that I applied for the right position. And I've had a handful of times that it didn't go through and I didn't find it. So I'm glad that they followed up, and that way we could go back through and walk through it together to make sure they got what they needed. Awesome.
Another question we've got for you is, how much are the union dues?
Man, honestly, like off the top of my head, I wouldn't know. Most of all that goes directly to the union hall. So I would have to have someone actually like show me a paycheck or a pay stub to know what that looks like.
Okay.
And a lot with Workday and things like that with that system, it's a self-service system, so I don't get in there to look at pay stubs. And so unless someone brings it to me and shows me, I know it fluctuates by what your pay is, by years of service. Like there's a lot of different pay things that go into the equation of what that is.
Wonderful. Well, I think I've answered all of the questions currently in the chat box. And so again, I just wanted to thank everyone for joining in. Obviously, thank you so much to Wes and Christy. We appreciate you all and your time and giving us a little overview about what is available at Bridgestone at the La Vergne plant. I will just give you another plug. You know, your website and your links are in this presentation. These things will be sent out to everyone that is currently participating or that signed up. And then we will also have this information on our YouTube page. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you, and everyone have a great day.
Thank you.